time today against an undefeated Rogue in our featured matchup presented by Mercedes-Benz. Rogue are a game away from locking the first seed out of the group. At 5-0, no other team could reach them, and they'd be number one, playing for pride in their 6th game of the day. DRX could eliminate GAM if they get a win here. So just as Rogue were cheering for GAM in the previous game, now GAM is cheering for Rogue in this one in the hopes of staying alive and getting that 3-way tie at 2-4.
You owe them, Rogue. Gotta get it back now. Do it for GAM. Let's see it. So exciting, too. You know, Rogue, of course, yeah, they're guaranteed out of the groups now, and being able to exit with a first seed would be amazing. But on top of that, still not dropping a game at Worlds, looking fearsome going into the next stage.
And my favorite part of Rogue has been how much they've been able to rely on different parts of their team. Some games it's been Malrang popping off, sometimes it's Comp and Trymbi. Well, they always play incredible, but when it comes to actually being the hard carry, we've seen every player on this team have subsequent pop-off moments. And as much as I love my Alpaca fans out there, I do think that this is a tough matchup for DRX. Especially when you look at how the last match was, DRX never really finding any footing in the game, and Rogue kind of dispatching them like they did with GAM today.
I think a lot depends on mid-jungle here for DRX. How is Pyosik going to perform on the day? Zeka has been amazing. See if they can set him up to be able to create some of those plays for them. Deft definitely going to be the carry for the late game 5-on-5s, but Zeka has been a huge pivot point for them.
I want to see as well, Odoamne, to me, he's still just kind of a focus because on the Gnar, he was not nearly as completely crushing as he was on the Maokai. So you can see how Zeka, though, has done, highest gold per minute right there. Nearly 500, that is a very absurd number. He has really been taking off, but yeah, I think the standout player on this team for sure.
Absolutely, and Zeka had these highs domestically throughout parts of the year. Most notably, I think, during the first round robin in summer, he looked like an incredible player that could really be one of the few that could actually stand up to, obviously at that point, Gen G. Chovy looking incredible and almost unmatched. He was able to find multiple carry performances, and it was really him and Deft that did it. A regular season Beryl was not always the greatest, and the top side we've talked about at great length. And seeing him do as well consistently as he had throughout the tournament has been a really big glow-up. But when I look at DRX, my question is always going to be, which Pyosik are we going to get today? Because it is a wild ride. And Malrang has, I think, been a very, very consistent threat on the side of Rogue.
All right, well, of course, we are delayed getting Champ Select, and the line I'm reading is that Malrang was experiencing some client issues and are now resolved. So he's been given some additional time to complete his ready checks and some client issues. So we'll be getting back into this one pretty soon. But once he's done, make sure all his settings are what he wants and everything. The standard template everyone goes on to, then we'll be ready to go into Champ Select.
Yeah, I think they actually in Champ Select renamed Jarvan to Malrang now.
Yep.
Nice.
So that's what you type
fair.
in to pick up the champion. Let's get it. So excited for this one, especially after the heroics of GAM in the previous game. Can we hope for another Nexus to Nexus race? little base race spice to end it?
I don't know. I want to believe.
Dare to hope, yes.
As long as, I personally, obviously, would like DRX to pick up the win, but if the game is as good as the previous one, I'm not going to complain.
I figured you have really split loyalty here, right? You cast the LCK, but
don't you go there.
But being Dutch, I feel like
don't you go there, freak.
An even bigger European fan. So I think we're really biased for Rogue here on the desk. I think we'll pick up the slack. Kobe and I can go ahead and cheer for DRX to make it a bit more fair. But
okay.
If you tell him,
that's how it's going to be.
If you tell him don't go there, you just make him want to do it more, by the way.
Yeah.
I should know this. I've seen enough to know that asking you to
to do
not
the responsible thing. Yeah, never gonna happen.
Absolutely not.
No, of course. I mean, look.
All right, freak. Take us in to Champ Select.
Alrighty, well, I am here with two handsome gentlemen to get ourselves into Champion Select between DRX and Rogue. Orin banned away. I'm expecting Maokai. Honestly, they first picked both their junglers. I have played some Maokai here on the DRX side.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, Odoamne has tanks for days. You've got Ornn, you've got Maokai, you've got Gragas. The Gnar even expertly played in the opening day of the game as well. So he's got a very deep champion pool to go to.
Do agree that giving over Maokai to Rogue is basically asking to lose. I feel similarly though about the Azir, and I would either expect DRX to ban it here on the third ban, because I love Zeka on a melee mid laner, even though he plays a decent Azir. With how it's looking thus far, gotta agree that Maokai first pick, DRX have shown that they are very happy to not only put Pyosik on it, I also think Kingen as a tank player is very consistent. As the respect bans towards DRX's bot side, I think, are being duly paid, but no!
Let you drop the ban onto it.
Okay.
All right, this time around then, yeah, of course, still has the Gragas, has the Gnar as options as well, so as we said, he should be fine. I'm very curious about this mid lane, though. They let the Azir through. If DRX don't pick that for Zeka initially, I know Rogue Larssen will definitely snatch it up.
But it plans.
And the key thing last time was that Zeka went for the Akali counter pick, but the composition from Rogue and the way they played around that pick really neutralized it. So I think DRX is making the call here. We prioritize Aatrox highly. It does well into tanks, and even if we do end up playing into the Akali or into the Azir rather, we can counter pick with Akali.
Aatrox is basically the champion of the tournament,
yeah.
But I'm very worried for Kingen to actually step up and make that faith in him really worth it for DRX. Because as we said, Zeka and Deft have been the hard carries for this team. They're putting a lot of faith into Kingen this time around, first picking that Aatrox for him and giving the sacrifice over to the other lanes. Kalista locked in for Comp. Comp and Trymbi have done magical things with this duo on the bottom side. So aggressive. Lucian and Kalista have been the powerhouse bottom lanes that they've used to constantly complement the AP carries from mid for Larssen. And there it is, no surprise.
Yeah.
And my expectation is that DRX is going to try and go for a bot lane that can withstand the pressure, but that means that Rogue already is setting up again for double priority lanes. At the very least, it's going to make it tough for DRX to find early game angles for Pyosik.
And will Zeka go for the Sylas or the Akali here into the Azir? You know, Akali, Pyosik, looking for that kill pressure onto the Azir, and having some faith in him on melee champion.
Because if there is a team that would flex it,
Hold on! It's done! It's done! It's done! It's Ashe Heimerdinger, baby! I got 2 Heimerdingers at Worlds? No way! This is a dream, baby!
Beryl has been known to enjoy himself some Heimerdinger, and the combination of slows and range is a nightmare for Kalista to play into.
I want to know who started the Heimerdinger at World's Champions Queue, because it has been running rampant. I'm so curious, though, where it began. Who was the spark? Because everybody's picking it up. And we're assuming this is for sure going support. I guess you could say there is like a 1% flex chance.
That sounds horrible into his ear.
If they
Azir hard dumpsters that lane, I'm pretty sure.
If they dare to put Zeka on Heimerdinger after the performance he's had so far, I'm going to be mad.
What if he just 1v9s one anyways? Like, actually, the secret counter. Manny Victor away, that's Heimer support.
Yeah, and they're that seems like they're expecting him to just match the scaling of the Azir, but as we said, Zeka can easily play the Sylas or the Akali here into the Azir, and one of those is definitely getting through.
I actually don't love the Victor ban. I think Victor into Azir has been a matchup that has been shown to be, if your jungler can afford to pay attention towards your mid side of the map, you can just on repeat keep ganking that lane, and once the flash is blown, there's not too much that the Victor can do. They do go for the respect on the Sylas. Great call there from Rogue.
Yeah, they definitely more fearful of that than the Akali. Meanwhile, DRX, respect to Trymbi's Recon, massive performance from him, as well as his Soraka. These are the 2 pairings there with the Kalista they have dominated with.
So Renata left up as a possibility to combo here with the Kalista. Lux Lever right now is interesting because with the Victor and Sylas ban, they're pushing Zeka to try to get him to play Akali, the exact match that they played the last time they met. And spoiler alert, that was a win for Rogue. If they like the matchup, they're like, yeah, Larssen, want to run it back? Yeah, I do. Okay, cool. Rumble, the answer.
I think it's going to be Rumble support with the Kalista as well.
I think so as well, and the combination in terms of team fighting power that Rogue have already into an immobile carry like Ashe is incredible, between equalizers, Jarvan cataclysms, and the possibility for Larssen to keep everyone on that field. Very, very strong.
The Rumble support, if they put it in the support role here, is actually so powerful versus the heavy lane here from Heimerdinger Ashe, constantly trying to push in. Rumble can help out with pushing the wave and getting down those turrets, using the Flame Spitter for the AoE and trying to splash those down. And as you say, once you get Equalizer, it's so good versus both Ashe and the Heimerdinger.
Is it Kindred? I feel like into a team fight comp. Good work. Pyosik obviously loves it.
Ollie can dive with you. Aatrox can dive with you.
They need
It's no Kaisa. You don't have Silas Kaisa who's quite as aggressive, but you can certainly try to find a backliner.
But they have such good hard engage for DRX now with Ashe Arrow and Vi Ultimate. We'll be looking for the Kalista and the Azir. Let's see about it. The final reveal, will it be Odoamne tank on the top side, or are they actually going to flex the Rumble up there?
Nasus! We're going Nasus, baby! We got all kinds of stuff in this game.
Teams have delved so deep into their gem pool to look for counters to Aatrox. And finally we get a Nasus top coming out.
I actually think it's Nasus support. I know Trymbi has been talking about this and has been known. And with a Kalista, if there is a pick that enables these off-meta type of supports, it would be that. Traditionally, I think you pick it into the Kalista because of the Wither interaction with Kalista's passive.
Yeah, the attack speed reduction is good versus Ashe as well, but setting them slow to get the
What are these drafts?
I mean, these drafts are incredible.
I love it.
And to be clear, this is a fight for first in the group. If Rogue wins, they're locked first. DRX might not even get out. They might tie break and fail out entirely. DRX need to win to make the chance of getting out higher, but also to fight for first in the first place. This is like an incredibly important game, and we got a Nas support, we got Rumble Aatrox, we got Heimer Ashe down here, we got a bunch of fun stuff.
Odo finally off tank duty. Let's see it. Bring the fire, my man.
Oh, I cannot wait for this one. Statistically, obviously not a very popular matchup. Rumble Aatrox is not heavily favored from solo queue data. I'm expecting it to be a relatively close fight. Obviously, the team fights themselves. Rumble can look good into Akali. She stealths, you Q, you ult, you do whatever. Suddenly Zeka's in hot water. You can see what happens.
What you can do for sure for Rumble, again, whether it was support or top lane, is going to help you with pushing the wave here. So Odo can push early, and then Azir is definitely going to push early into the Akali. So Rogue are setting themselves up with 2 pushing lanes and a Malrang on Jarvan. Definitely going to be some early action here for Rogue then.
Pyosik is going to have to try to keep up with Malrang, shadowing him around the map. Because if you fall behind with a DRX composition early to the point where you can't use your skirmishing power, or you're not able to actually utilize the pressure that you'll have in the bot side of the map, I think it's very, very hard. As much as I love both the shenanigans that we're having on opposite side here, I do think that when it comes to actually playing out, the DRX comp is very, very far away from ease of execution to what Rogue has. Because in the worst case scenario, can always fall back to team fight.
And I want to see this support Heimerdinger where all the hype was coming from. It has popped off in some Champions Queue games, but really it has been at people, face checking it and getting those big explosions. With the control of having hawk shots with the Heimerdinger, the extra vision advantage I feel like will be massive. Constantly getting pushed there with turrets on bottom side, volley spam out, and then hawk shot to track Malrang. I think a lot of this is on Deft to help out Pyosik. Constant hawk shots over to at least eliminate possible areas where he could be. And then you can, by process of elimination, pick out where he's going.
Of course, to the side, it's going to be E-Spam. It's a Spell Thief start. It's Comet for the Nasus.
Yep.
Expected here, right? Like you're doing Emax Wither. It's a 1-point wonder Q for the champion, but it is going to be decent poke, right? There's not a lot of sustain on the DRX bottom lane. Heimer's regen got cut pretty heavily. It's not nearly as absurd as it used to be in years past, and we are on to the Rift. Now, those score lines are backwards. DRX at 2-1, Rogue 4-0. There has never been an undefeated LEC team at the end of groups. Rogue hoping to make it a 6-0 run.
And overall, do again want to highlight Malrang. I think gonna have a lot of opportunity here to find those early moments and get a lot of his lanes ahead.
Yeah. Prime Gaming is giving away 150,000 RP to several lucky fans every single day of Worlds. Head over to primegamingworlds22.com to enter and make sure to put in today's secret code to get bonus entries, primegamingworlds22.com.
And there it is once again. The control ward from Malrang starts with potion control ward, wards the tri-brush, or the pixel brush here in the river on bottom side to allow them this lane to play through. He's gonna start red, move on down there, look for the early gank. If you can gank the Heimerdinger Ashe early, stop that just onslaught of constant volley and turret spam and constant pushing, then you can stop them before they even get started on your bottom lane.
Because I do want to highlight that the Rogue composition, we talked about DRX being tough. For Rogue, if the comp falls behind, magic itemization, or magic resist itemization rather, becomes incredibly valuable. Their main source of AD damage will be just the Kalista, who into all the short range threat that's available for DRX, might have a tough time later in the game.
Your eyes on Malrang over there. Okay, control ward through the pixel brush in the river, goes red, skips the raptors that have the ward on them from DRX. So DRX know with that raptor ward that he has not taken the raptors, and they're question mark pinging now. Did he start this red? They didn't see the camp pull.
Oh, Malrang has a path available if he wants to go and flag and drag over the wall into the brush.
Yep. The ward pretty far up in the river to try and see him if he walked through. So if you EQ over, could stay in that fog of war.
Red Bull's Romp is going to be level 3, so he can try for the play, but not just yet. Pyosik, after a full left side clears on the bottom side, but looks like he's not cutting any camps to be covering any time early. It looks like Jarvan finishing his 4th camp and pathing back to top side. Looks like he does not see any angle to gank this one and is pathing away.
E-spam from Trymbi, trying to hit. Does get a little bit of Comet Poke damage as well. And Malrang gonna bounce back to the top side. Odoamne building a big wave up there on Rumble. Pushing it into the turret, will reset, no problem for himself. See what they can do with top pressure. Again, top and mid lane for sure pushing here for Rogue. Once again with the Jarvan. Crosses back to get top side Scuttle Crab. Much more difficult on the bottom side though. Those Heimer turrets and volley spam, inevitable.
Are seeing some of the difficulties here, as you'd expect. Zeka, we've seen this matchup play out a ton. The Azir, as Larssen is showcasing excellently here, always going to have a very good time into the Akali. Akali really, after the sustain nerfs that came through throughout the mid of the season, much tougher time, but overall, looks like the early pathing from either jungler hasn't responded or hasn't resulted in any action yet.
Yeah, and Zeka trying to hold the potion as long as he can, get the most out of his shield there. Now pops the potion as we have a wrap around.
Yeah, Larssen out of mana entirely, cannot fight back really anymore, but Malrang written around, Zeka 200 HP. It's like EQ flash the knockup, but it's not any damage, so Zeka's not really a threat because Larssen can't really get much there. There's the EQ, yeah, a shield. I think, again, even a flash wouldn't have killed 200 HP.
Yeah, looking for a little bit of a bluff there.
Oh!
Damage though on a Trymbi. Halo Blades, Ashe, decent damage. Volley won't land, but the poke is working. Now Beryl is low. So the health bar lead is pretty heavily with DRX. And
Look
Malrang
at the coverage! Pyosik and Malrang!
Pyosik doesn't see him. Malrang doesn't see him either. Now it's information on DRX's side.
Wave's too big, Wave's also too big.
Yeah. Health bar's too low. Early damage gonna come through here.
Poke lands again. Turret shot's not taken.
And this is the dream scenario for these support Heimerdinger games here, where you get to constantly push. And I just think it's so intelligent to pair it with the Ashe because of the hawk shot that we're talking about. Keep track of the enemy jungler, make sure you don't get ganked early on, so you can just spam the volleys and constant harassment.
There's no someone to heal in this lane, so Trymbi doesn't have any X factor for surviving this one. The Rockets, if it happened to land or made him slightly better, could have made a flash forced out of comp.
I'm happy that after I got my Karthus game, you finally get your support Heimerdinger game.
Yeah,
and you get to talk about it.
We count the one with Cloud9, but really we want to see a W.
Yeah. Well, yeah, that's fair. That one I had erased from my memory. That's all.
Yep. Well, more damage on a Larssen here as Zeka chose, do I want boots? He went Mertrays. He's like, nah, Sork shoes? Nah, actually goes to the alternator. Bit better poke damage there, puts it on cooldown, but the Q auto trades look pretty decent. Health can help for the all-ins there as well.
Yeah, and Pyosik running a build that was very good when the item was overstated.
Yeah.
Not nearly as impressive as Zeka. Gonna go back,
It's
and
pretty good.
It's still not bad. I don't hate it,
Yeah.
but I mean, if you have any thoughts, I'd be happy to hear.
So it's really, really goal division. Like in the case of Beryl, you're like kind of paying for the stats you're getting. In the case of Future Fire, it's actually just the best source of AD and haste you can kind of get, and health is early in the game. And early game, all you need is raw stats. So it does suit the champion quite well. It's actually well supported as a good first item for champions like Vi and Heimerdinger.
Okay, I'm convinced. Thank you, Freak.
It is among the good options.
Is it your favorite?
I mean, I'm partial to Triforce in kind of all cases.
Ooh, okay. I like it.
Yeah.
Feisty as Pyosik.
Yeah. Everyone's a jungler, everyone builds Triforce. Pyosik will walk back, does not get spotted by anything.
Yeah, already used Q to get over the back of that Dragon Pit into the Tri-Brush, so no further threat from him. Go back to farming over here. The Rogue bottom lane gets to finally push back out.
Not a ton of damage to the scoop, though, huge! Able to ult back out as Zeka. 200 HP left, basically ult for ult, clears the wave, walks out. Odo actually has roamed down, and there were missing pings already. And this recall could be stopped by Nikolaz if he wants to, just to waste more time.
Yeah, a little bit off on some timing here for the setup for Rogue. Odo not quite there to lend the extra damage. Nicely avoided by Zeka. He gets out, doesn't have to burn his flash. It's just a ult for ult trade. Here's our Hawk shots though. See if they want to cross over all the red camps. Process of eliminate, there he is. Keep track of that Jarvan. Malrang going to pick up his red.
Always feels very unfun as a jungler, especially someone as creative as Malrang has been able to find so many unexpected angles to get tracked as, ooh, Kingen might be in some trouble here. Pyosik is in the area, but not very nearby.
And the big combo you're looking for is when you get Jarvan to level 6 and you get the spicy hot pot combo with the Cataclysm. Malrang not quite there.
About 50 seconds away. How much time can you buy? Flag and Drag not going to find a knock-up, and that means there's not a whole lot they can do here. It's going to get the pullback. Q2 is going to land, and he straight up fights them. 1 versus 2. Ulti pop, sure, but now Vi winning the wings. Might have been on a ward. Might have cleared it all the same. In fact, has done so, but it's still on vision. They know Pyosik's here. Sweeper is going to spot him. There's no fight.
It's pretty big for Aatrox burn ultimate too, and Malrang and Odoamne both saving there, so pretty big discrepancy in power now. I don't know about leashing this Herald. They're going to do it though. Both bottom lanes staying bottom.
Yeah, sometime for mid though. Azir still coming out of his base. As the W doesn't land much more, they still get the eye on this one. Ulti difference definitely going to matter here. Zeka is here first, but again, after this wave, Larssen can show that might be enough time to play it. Queuing from the Fog of War, they can go for the play on Odo. He shorts the flash. It's a miss out of the jungle, and there's the spicy hot pot. A smite for health. The eye pops, King gets it, and Malrang's left alone. Despite the missed flash, it's still a 2 for 0.
And this is where you see the skirmishing power of DRX. And they are able to take down Odo and Malrang before Larssen has the opportunity to respond, and it's thanks to that roam from Zeka.
Exactly, Zeka gets there first, has the impact. Akali ultimate used. DRX, okay, now he doesn't have ultimate to get back out here, does get swept into the turret.
That small window of Larssen recalling, walking back to base, Zeka being there first, they pull the trigger on the 2v3, and even though there's no damage from the Vault Breaker, it's enough burst to win the fight.
Zeka, Zeka, Zeka. That's why we highlight him coming into this game.
Oh, Malrang. Sums are available, but
he has no ult. I don't know if you can get into this one. You can like get into range. Deft's a bit low on mana, to be fair.
And this game will become very difficult for Rogue with a fed Akali. Zeka was not only able to get one of the last hits and the assist on the other kill, but also picked up the eyeball there. Can get isolated turret plate money for the activation.
Yeah, fourth goes by the Malrang. So always a chance. He didn't have smite up, so it's like, hey, maybe get the steal. Zeka, of course, in full vision, wants to kill Larssen. Nearly would have killed a Shuriken Flip. Wouldn't have quite been lethal damage, but would have been a threat for sure. He's wearing a red buff, so aggressive trades work for him. Gets okay amounts of extra regen while out of combat. It really ramps up with levels.
Also want to highlight again that it's very tough for Rogue if their bot lane isn't able to get a lead, because the itemization later in the game becomes so easy as, unfortunately, Pyosik not quite up to the task here. Doesn't land the combo.
Yeah, but also then they don't get the combo on the side of Rogue that they're looking for, and after the flash right back in there, and Zeka being the one to the fight means it's a 2v3, okay, with an Akali. And he picks up, as we said, the Rift Herald. Zeka is now the richest person in the game after that play.
Well, good job by DRX. I like the play. They went for it. Even with Kingen having no ulti, they had 20 seconds of mid priority and turned it into an objective and about 1,000 gold worth of kills. So you can see a 2,500 gold lead for DRX with a Herald meaning 300 more soon.
And he's got ultimate flash and proto belt done already at 11 minutes here for Zeka. Rogue, big task is going to be tracking him so that they don't fall further behind on one of those side lane roads. You can already tell bottom lane very, very worried here. Really good ward coverage by DRX through the river here, setting up for the dragon pull.
And I want to highlight as well that actually locking down the Akali, especially one that's been playing as well as Zeka, without point and click CC is very tough. The Maokai to me was the big difference maker last time around these two teams played. As Deft tries to either force a cleanse or at the very least something, isn't able to get it. But this time around, that champion doesn't really exist. So outside of Exhaust, I expect Zeka to have a lot of free range in how he moves around these fights and will be very tough for Rogue to deal with.
Quick mechanical thing, by the way. If you throw your stun out, you can press Q fast enough that it will be on the ground and get the max energy from landing your stun. Beryl was slightly late on his EQ combo, but you can get it to shoot a laser out with Heimer support, so that's actually part of the combo here. Looking now at fighting the bottom side. Kalista gonna throw in, and they're gonna find the dunk on the back side. It's gonna be a lot of damage. Malrang, very slow. The turrets mean a lot. They trade back Deft, and now Beryl is on the run. His turret's still helping, but they still got a lot of damage coming at Kalista. Here are the reinforcements. The Kingen shows up, TPing to the turret to walk it with his ulti and force the flash out of Trymbi. And now Pyosik and Zeka are on the way. Vi can Q ult and maybe catch someone under the tower. He might die for it. Cannot find his man.
Yeah, that would be so deep. And look at the top side. They're getting a push back for Odoamne, so there is a price to Kingen coming down. In the end, they get the trade on the kills, but no chase down there. And that's going to mean some extra turret plate money. Kingen gets some for himself as well, though, hard pushing on bottom.
Now we see the lane swap coming through, and this is the threat of Heimer support. If you're not able to get the 100 to 0, Deft flashing away initially. If you stand into those turrets for just a little bit of time, you're going to go down. It's Deft.
Equalizer, Deft's getting dove, and Odoamne knocks him down. The assist goes back over, though, as Zeka TP's in for more. A 1-for-1, the wave not even really denied.
Oh, they're just beating Akali even more. Zeka just in time
Malrang
to take that kill.
Malrang?
He's got his smite, he's gonna claim it, no problem. He's taking enough to deal with his poor Heimerdinger, but Pyosik is around, and that's gonna be an ulti. That's gonna be the kill. Zeka, Beryl gets a kill with his little turrets.
Yeah, Pyosik able to get the Q and flash this time around to land and hit on Malrang. Bit of a spectator bug there with the lag. Meanwhile, Beryl right back out here, and since he was able to get the tick on the kill, he gets the blue buff. Heimerdinger blue buff here, coming from support with the Sorcerer's Shoes is really start to hurt.
Do you think they chose actually the damage-oriented version instead of going for cooldown boots, like, you know, more stuns, more CC, right? The ult's back up a bit sooner, things like that. But he's going for burst. He's trying to kill him.
And what it means is, because DRX get to play this game from ahead, the map control is going to allow them to have these devastating Heimer turret brush set up all over. And since he has gone the damage, burst here, if you walk in, you get comboed. Grenade on top of your head, all the turrets get their charged up shot.
Yep. Oh, wow, big damage. And the Klon just pulled right back in. Didn't have a flash, didn't have a prayer.
And that's with the cleanse also being used. And I think we're really also seeing the experience from Beryl and Heimerdinger. And as you pointed out also, walking into or near a brush where there could be a Heimer waiting. And the issue now for Rogue is that even though I think their composition has still a lot of great scaling elements, as Deft just gets killed here. That sometimes happens to Deft. We've seen this domestically as well, but I think you'll still take it as a trade overall.
Oh, he's super happy because Odo flashed for that kill as well, and Akali ends up getting it. So it's an unassisted kill for Rogue, for Odo, and then the assisted kill for DRX, plus it allows them to get the collapse onto Malrang and get the extra kill for Beryl. They've got another AP carry on their team, my friend.
That's my Beryl. You aim W very close to your champion, fans out like it's volley and comet, or your spell thief will tell you someone's in the brush. So Beryl doing some nice plays to make sure you can check brush from far away. It's going to be safe to walk forward. Trymbi, keep in mind this is a very squishy Nasus that is an underfed AP Nasus functionally. Could be an easy target. Of course, he's got a Kalista in the back pocket, so he's always going to be safe. But that is his only safety right now.
I think Rogue for sure, just give this up. You do not want to fight it now. You've got yourselves in such a big hole. DRX are blowing this early game up. They are not going to let Rogue walk into the first place spot of this group. They're going to try and push them to some tiebreakers.
And what I think you're hoping for here as Rogue is maybe a less relevant Drake. Looks like DRX, surely with the gold lead they have right now, should be able to claim themselves the upcoming objective as long as they move towards that half of the map. But then if it ends up being a Mountain Drake, or I personally love Cloud Drakes. I know this is not always.
Yeah.
Not everyone resonates with it. I'm personally, as an LCK commentator, I don't have a fan, or a choice rather to be a fan, because we get a lot of them. It's a statistic anomaly.
Why is the best reason? You know, you get a bunch of cloud.
Aw, thank you.
Well, I
Thank you,
think
Freak.
no matter what it is, the LCK team is going to get it, though. That's the beauty of having this bottom lane with so much map control. When you've got a Ashe Heimer support bottom lane, having such a successful early game, your hawkshot first, take out all the vision, set up turrets there so they can't face check you, they can't walk into the objective. DRX can just take mid turret first, then rotate on back towards that dragon, and it gets even more annoying. The Rylai's is completed, so the slows here from Beryl are going to provide so much setup for the rest of his team.
It's really obnoxious for Rogue to deal with because, as we pointed out, someone like Comp, when you're playing a Kalista from behind and you have a limited amount of range, you're playing into Rylai's, Heimerdinger, and Ashe. Just one of those will be annoying. Both basically makes it very hard for you to play the game. I would love to see DRX index even more heavily into stacking Amar, because already we see Kingen going for what I assume will be a Maw of Momortia second. Same for Pyosik, because so much value is gotten, and for Rogue, actually trying to win fights when your bot lane isn't doing a lot of the enemies. Itemizing his Beryl.
Beryl gets stoves upon, but gets the flash out. Now, the cooldown change, obviously much better for Rogue. It's about 2 minutes apiece. It's 5 for Beryl's Heimerdinger, so next time around he won't survive it.
Yeah. Usually we'll see the Heimerdinger supports next go for stopwatch and turn that into a Zhonya's once they can. So you have multiple out buttons for engages like that. When your flash is down, try and make use of the immunity. So we'll see if he goes for that extra safety route now that he's got the slow with the Rylai's.
Yeah, a lot of the value of the Rylai's, by the way, for those who don't play the Heimerdinger, is even the turret auto attacks count as full-on spells, so you get full Rylai's triggering with it. So you just like chain slow pretty much the entire squad. Works very, very well, and indeed Beryl is off to a pretty standard Heimer support page.
Yeah, and that's why the Zhonya's is such a good follow-up, because during your immunity, turrets get to keep shooting, keep applying heal for the rest of your team. Yep.
And overall, yeah, I think we're seeing DRX really snowball the early game, and it ends up being a Mountain Drake, which I think for Rogue is basically the worst case scenario, as you pointed out. DRX probably going to get it regardless, but in terms of finding yourself into a comeback, I think with Rogue's composition, it often comes down to a big wombo combo, giving more time to DRX to get out of any of those combos, to stack more resistances, makes it very, very tough for Rogue to find an entryway back into this game, and they need a good one, because the state right now is not great.
Yeah, I mean, just listen to how quiet it is in here now. DRX very quickly put a stop.
I'm sure there's plenty of DRX fans, Kobe. Okay, I was gambling with that one.
We got up to you.
Alpaca fans?
Where's the Deft lovers? There they are.
Yep.
I mean, honestly, though, when you stomp the early game this hard, it leads to these calm, intersections that you're very used to in LCK.
I am in my comfort zone right now.
Exactly.
Yeah. The thing is, though, right, the Rogue fans, the top esports fans, and the GAM fans are all cheering Rogue on.
All
of those fan bases actually are hoping that Rogue takes it. GAM are eliminated with a DRX win. TES's best chances are with a Rogue win.
But it's Deft.
I love Deft. He's a great player, one of my favorite AD carries of all time. I am happy to see this happen. I'm
All right, look at this defense on the red buff here as they're trying to keep any sort of vision. DRX doing such a good job leveraging their advantage, strangling out this team. Now you've got no vision to work with, no map to work with. Your jungle camps are forfeit.
And DRX, in my opinion, are one of the most classic LCK teams, where you've seen teams like T1 obviously go for very hard, aggressive skill checks early on. We've seen Damwon also opt into skirmishes and trying to snowball leads very aggressive. DRX, they take their time.
Yeah, and it's so difficult from Rogue's side to be able to face check any of this stuff. We talked about the devastation that a Heimerdinger support will lay on you if you try and face check into their jungle.
And lands the Malrang. They can try to just burst out. A stopwatch, buy some time. He can flash, he can flag and drag, and they know all they're going to get is the stopwatch itself. Now he is incredibly far from Zone RGE. That'll get sold. but that is now 600 gold basically deleted from Rogue's inventory.
Yeah, they can be very patient with it. DRX, you know, continue to.
Oh, they will be. Don't you worry.
They can just keep on fishing for these picks with the Ashe arrow. They also have a pretty easy time of actually starting up that Baron. If they want to call over to the other side of the map with the Heimer turrets, does make it pretty simple, but they can just continue to get every resource off the map. They took red buff, switch over to the bottom side, Kingen pushes in, and they take away blue buff as well.
I'm happy I get to cast an LCK game. You know, I've had so much action throughout the rest of the day. Everyone's fighting all the time.
Yeah,
sometimes
horrible League of Legends.
Sometimes, well, absolutely. Sometimes you just want to take it slow. You want to take it easy.
Yeah.
You know, talk about what you've been up to.
Everyone
how
hated
your
that game we
co-casters
just
are
had.
doing.
Oh,
Yeah,
I'm
the second game.
Oh yeah,
Absolutely.
game 2 was an atrocity. The Nexus Rush.
It was okay.
That's not the kind of league I want to see.
Yeah, keeping their
I want
dreams
20
alive.
minutes of ward control. Let's hear it for ward control. That was a bait. That was a bait. You're supposed to boo me. Boo! I got you. I got you. Boo!
Boo! No, I
Freak
love
Stokes.
this.
Thank
I
you.
love this.
Thank you.
I'm having
Appreciate
a
that.
great time. You know, we
I
just
am too.
slowly get to watch this game.
You know why I'm having
Take
a great
back.
time?
Tell me.
Spending time with you two.
Aww. Aw, thank you.
You're welcome.
He always,
great company
he
too.
always
Is
hits
it-
you with the unexpected,
this a-
wholesome moment
Oh,
right
I wa-
before the trap closes.
You know what? That's what I was saying. Is like, am I being lulled into a false sense of security?
This is just textbook, though, from DRX. The map control
Uh-oh.
that they lock out Rogue with.
Might still out of the ultimate. Second would die for it. Beryl just on the wide side of the ult W. Drake's
Again,
gonna be killed.
the iron grip. They keep up their control wards. Beryl says, this is my jungle. He plants the flag over here in Jarvan's jungle and says, no, this is now Heimerdinger territory.
Yep.
You are not allowed in. Constantly sweeping out these wards. They are not left alive for more than but a moment.
I like Larssen's build, though. Larssen is basically building in order to be as powerful as he can for the Mountain Soul fight. I don't think there's a world where you get to 3 items, so Death Cap is your best second item in a world where you have to fight at 27 minutes. It is really, really strong for that one. They're going to try now for the bot side play. A flash out for Odo, and he's going to try to live as long as he can, but that's not very long. TP comes in for Larssen, but the aggro's already dropped. Pyosik very tanky under that turret.
Surgical removal here. DRX. They close them out, turn off the lights. Rogue have no vision. They pick off the side lanes and then move in for more damage.
And this DRX come from ahead might be one of the most obnoxious comps to play into. You have Hawkshot, you have turrets, you have picks like Akali and Aatrox, upon which collapsing is very, very tough, especially if you are behind, and they have itemized accordingly. So as Rogue, you're basically waiting for DRX to overstep in the side lane, go too hard in on an objective, or maybe try and catch someone off guard in the jungle, and then find a counter engage.
Interesting, Odo had gone for some flat armor, right? Went for the arm guard itself, not the zonies, but the arm guard, and then into as much damage as possible. Rumble actually has pretty weak AP ratio since so much of his damage is the ultimate. So doing a pen stacking build is your best way to get damage out of a Rumble. But it doesn't mean he's actually quite squishy, right? He didn't actually finish his Zonias. He didn't have a stopwatch inventory. So that dive worked out well, that surgical removal. And we know the time is ticking down. We know we're 3 minutes, 20 seconds away from Mountain Soul. That's going to block so much of Rogue's initial engage. Beryl, 20 CS. You go.
Get it, baby.
Good for him.
Oh, he missed both! He missed both caster minions!
Boo.
Classic support over here.
Boo for Beryl.
It's okay.
Oh,
He's
boo,
got
Boo
the
Beryl, he's great.
He's got the jungle control though, trying to get both sides. See if he can fight with death for a little bit.
W that cannon. I don't see a 21.
Another hawk shot.
Here we go though. The window during the recall of Beryl was utilized effectively by Rogue to get vision back on their red side. Here's another engage.
The rocket lands, and they're gonna kill him right away. And barely has a second to ulti down, but Equalizer does nothing of the sort.
I haven't even talked about this, but Deft also going for a build which not only spikes very hard on 2 items, but also gets the build Wit's End into the Rogue composition. And it's slow, it's steady, but they're getting the job done.
Oh, they are laying a waste to Rogue here.
Well, I think that's too aggressive of terminology.
They're the inhibitor turns to 25.
Well, yeah, but they're doing it at a leisurely pace.
Okay.
Okay.
You gotta pace it down.
I mean,
Take it easy.
I'm of 2 minds.
Vi's ult is like, when Pyosik's ult is up, the kill is had.
Yeah.
Pyosik ult up, Rogue member down, basically,
Yep.
has been the steps.
Well, we move forward here. You can see that gold lead.
Yep.
leisurely up into the right. This is a nice stroll up the hill. You know, there's no rock climbing going on here. Q's over the wall, and he's like, yo, dog.
Odoamne tries to push him off, but then you see mid lane pushing in for DRX, and they've got the window. All he needs is Beryl's follow-up. Support Heimerdinger, baby, making it look beautiful this game. Pairing it with the Ashe, such a nice choice there from Deft.
Well, what I love,
recently.
what I love as well is that they might try look for a play on Zeka here, but Akali is so
They've got
slippery.
4 members. They're going to send
Flash
everybody
available.
up there.
Kalista will throw him in. They know they can wither afterwards. The E will reveal him under the shroud now as well. Will there be a play? Team is coming in for everyone else. Is it enough? The King on the front line wants to kill Larssen, who's supposed to flash away. Throw by some time. King is pretty tanky, but he will get shut down. In goes Zeka, but can't kill Malrang just yet. Pyosik will go, and he finds it. Zeka. Oh! Stopwatch was perfect. He immunes Larsen's disengage and just kills him for it.
Overall, it's a pretty big win for Rogue, as long as they can get out of here. Zeka does have teleport available. Teleport is cancelled. Trymbi goes in.
Flash, Wither, E is there. They're gonna try for the rest. The stun, point blank arrow. Kong's cleanse is 7 years too late. Private Jack dies, and it's a double kill for Zeka.
And DRX finally have cleaned the map. Now there are no Rogue members in front of them. They can push it out.
Look at my alpaca go! Good for you! And overall, there you see exactly the problem with the Rogue composition when it's behind. Even when everyone funnels into Deft and tries to take him down, he still had stopwatch.
They send everybody and they throw the kitchen sink at Zeka over here. 4 members of Rogue immediately. The teleport comes in to peel for him. Kingen tries to buy a lot of time on the front line. Rogue are able to burst him down even with the extra peel, but then with the shroud into the stopwatch there from Zeka, he's able to find the last move onto Larssen after he immunes the ultimate.
And from that point onwards, as Rogue, you have no chance but to try and punish here. But look at Deft's health bar. It's not going down.
Re-engaging into the turret territory there of the Heimerdinger while Ashe still has ultimate. So Beryl peels on the bottom side there with the grenade, and then Deft with the point blank arrow right in his face.
And the stopwatch get added to the inventory, by the way. Now Deft has one. He's going to be even safer than last time, and he didn't even die. And you got the play already. Hey, guess what? Vio's back up, and this game is all over. Mountain Soul was claimed. The double kill into the bot lane. Baron, if you want it.
Yeah, that's got to be Beryl now. DRX supremacy around this red buff jungle. 2 quick kills on the flank.
And it's looking bad, unfortunately, for GAM as well, because the moment that DRX get themselves the win here, which is looking more and more likely, Mountain Soul now picked up Baron in their hands as well, and their siege with Ashe and the Heimerdinger surely going to be incredibly obnoxious. Doesn't look like there's a lot of avenues for Rogue back into this one.
And that does, you know, breed some excitement for the tiebreaker between them if they're able to push it and continue winning towards the end of the day.
So they're rush cannon, but they walked onto a ward to get there.
Yeah, it's not happening.
There is a chance Rogue can be like, yo, 5v2, 2 picks, Trymbi should know. Trymbi saw them. I think he saw them come in.
It's the fabled support Heimerdinger Death Brush, though. We finally got it. They face check into it, and the full power is unleashed.
Well, ulti's on, a rock belt for safety, not gonna matter. Arrow's gonna stun him. Stun's gonna combo up. Beryl has his 3rd kill of the game.
And DRX, it's slow, it's surgical, it's methodical, but as Rogue, there is nothing you can do. There are no angles. There is no crazy team fight. You are just getting choked out of this game.
Looking for 30 minutes to victory here. DRX will improve to 3-1. In doing so, will eliminate Vietnam's GAM Esports from playoff contention and will eliminate them at the bottom of the standings. We'll see if TES can keep up. We'll see if Rogue can still fight for first. There's still many more games to play, but it means DRX can move towards that top of the standings. It means there's more to do here. You still have the fight in the front side. Kingen holding it pretty steadily as the turrets drop. One more dive, a great stopwatch for Zeka. Gets away, and Trymbi is going to be too squishy. A solo go for the mid lane. Ashe in for a double now as well. Stuck onto the fountain. Comp barely lives, but Rogue does not. As the LEC first seed finds their first loss at Worlds, DRX moved to 3-1.
And DRX, in their most DRX, weird drafts, centered around Beryl trying to push his champion pool as far as he can. And more so than any other team, when DRX get a lead, They play it out as slowly, as cleanly as possible, and I gotta say, coming into Worlds, I keep getting surprised by what DRX has shown, because I've seen his team midway through the LCK split, and let me tell you, they didn't look even a little bit like this.
What a fun one, though, overall. Pretty beautiful game. It's fun to see it come out. Unfortunately, Nasus could not play with the lane pressure that Ashe and Heimerdinger had. The coverage was there, and Malrang went for an aggressive look, right? It was red, skip Raptors, Grump, like Wolves Grump. All right, I'm ready to go. We can, and it wasn't there, right? There's not enough CC, not enough follow-up. Couldn't early upset the early pressure, and it was just like infinite control down there.
Yeah, I mean, I think Kingen did a great job with the faith they put in him with that Aatrox topside as well. Really, Zeka on the first move on the Rift Herald play was such a big difference maker. And then you've got, you know, the winning bottom lane, plus a fed Akali, plus Aatrox topside, and there's nowhere for Rogue left to play. I think I may have cursed it. I'm sorry, everyone. I brought something up here onto the deck for the Rogue game,
okay,
a little
well,
trinket. Sorry about that.
Can't believe you do that to him.
As the resident European here, sorry for that one, but you know it's okay. You
I am not happy at all.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, of course not. Yeah, who would want to see your team?
Neither are GAM. GAM did so much. They got the win for Rogue, and now their hearts have been broken.
Yeah, if they had beaten Rogue, they would have had a chance, but not the case for them. So they are out, but we still have, of course, much more to play. There's still a chance for tiebreakers. Stay tuned for all of that. If you're looking for even more Worlds content, of course, check out the Rift Reaction podcast, hosted by Travis Gafford and our own Emily Rand. Episodes drop every Wednesday, and that means there's a brand new episode of Rift Reaction waiting for you on Spotify. While you queue up that next episode, we're heading over to the State Farm Analyst Desk. See you there.
Thank you so much, Freak. Lucky for our viewers at home, they don't have to go that far to get a word out of Emily Rand. And she will react to what just happened on the Rift. DRX, they take the game. Also, Dagda over here collecting DRX animals.
Your secret bag.
I wanted to change it into the DRX Deft Dagda desk. Just get it all
DRX Deft Dagda desk. I like that.
My bad, okay.
Don't destroy the animals. Yeah. Love
Sorry, my bad. Oh, we got Alpaca Kings out there too.
Let's go.
You know what? Look, I got it.
Thank you, thank you.
Plenty of support in the crowd for DRX as they pick up a win here and keep themselves in fighting position, not just for a spot in the knockouts, but also for first place in the group by taking down Rogue, the #1 seed. Rogue still has that one game separation though, with one more game played. Still the only team locked into the knockouts. Unfortunately for GAM Esports, with that win out of DRX, they are effectively eliminated from contention. Top, though, still has a pathway forward. We'll talk a little bit more about that later on. You didn't catch it. Dagda's already a little wishy-washy on the top esports chances.
I've apparently already swapped.
He's already
Right.
There we go.
So now to get a little bit of that reaction that I promised you from Emily Rand,
cool.
we're going to go to the draft. We got a Heimerdinger. We got a Nasus.
Yeah.
What do you make of that?
So, I was talking about how, because I'm a bot laner, and Heimerdinger has been like all of my worst lanes
Is your
to ever
comfort
play
zone?
against.
Oh, okay.
No. I'm an AD carry player.
Yeah.
I'm a terrible sport. But the things I like about this, right, are actually the Ashe and Heimer together. Ashe is actually something that I thought we'd see a little bit more because I'd heard that teams were scrimming it a bit alongside the Caitlyn. And then the Heimer, I know Chronicler already pointed it out, but Beryl does have kind of a few of these tricks up his sleeve. It has incredible push. On the other side, though, I know, Raz, you had a lot to say about the Nasus and conflicting opinions.
Well, I mean, first of all, this is the first game for Trymbi on Nasus, as he's been like hovering it throughout the time. So we've been waiting in anticipation for him to finally pick it, ideally into a Kalista or into a Zarya, a champion that relies a lot on its attack speed and movement speed. And we got it into a Heimerdinger lane with Ashe, and he couldn't do anything. I would have expected something that has some form of hard engage just because you want to be able to allow J4 into your lane, do something there, but he was just getting pushed in. So that one is unfortunate. I still think you can see a Nasus in those scenarios we were talking about, but this game he felt really useless.
Yeah, I think the thought process is like, look, I can take the E, maybe I can push back against the turrets a little bit, maybe I can try and set up for something. But you can see, even when they tried to make plays on bot side, there was that one gank that they went for, and it was classic Heimer things. They immediately turn around that bot side gank, they go 1 for 1, and yeah.
Yeah, I want to point out what's on the screen right now, which was the forward percentage for Deft, and in particular Beryl, right? Because the big thing is that this lane pushes.
There it
the
is.
turrets
Yeah.
push. You're just constantly have the shove in that lane, and it gets to the point where it's difficult even under turret because you're also constantly taking poke from Ashe, from Heimer. It just did not look like a good time for the Rogue bot lane.
And that really bled into the rest of the map. The vision control from DRX was oppressive. They also consistently made sure that they had push in mid lane to support these side lanes. Now, of course, this fight was interesting. Zeka coming in from the side and really cementing it for DRX. This contest was close if you were thinking about it from the perspective of a 2v2. Zeka didn't allow that to happen.
And the thing was, because Zeka got these double kills, suddenly that push for the Azir in the mid lane wasn't as prominent as well. It meant that you couldn't lean down and try and help out that bot side as much as possible. So it ended up just kind of falling a lot of dominoes into place then on the DRX side, and they punished beautifully off it. So honestly, with the Heimer coming in, I'm glad to see that we've kind of opened up a new avenue now for DRX, a little bit of flexibility in that draft as well.
Oh, definitely. In all senses of the word, a good look for DRX in this game. I think everyone is still left just a little bit baffled as to what the Nasus pick was supposed to accomplish. And I realize we're really hammering that point home, but we want to try and justify it. And most of us spent the entirety of the game downstairs trying to find its way in or its relevancy in this game. Not to completely, claim the pick is obsolete, but didn't feel like the right place for it.
But even if the Nasus pick had kind of done anything on that bot side, I don't think it would have really mattered, right?
Fair.
When you look at the way this game had gone, Rogue had already lost the skirmishing in the 2v2 or through their top jungle as well, which was one of the things that they wanted to try and play through. I think when you look across at DRX, they did a particularly good job of trying to keep in touch on that top side, making sure that they couldn't actually make these plays. I mean, Vi was consistently kind of matching the roams here coming through from Rogue. So honestly, I think it was just overall a really good read coming through on the side. And when we hit that, on the side of DRX, and we hit the mid game, then it becomes now impossible to actually play out this composition against every single lane that's pushing for DRX.
And I do think DRX showed one thing that a lot of teams can learn from, which is patience, right? They knew that they didn't have to choose a lot of the fights that Rogue would have loved for them to go into because it could have given them advantage. And I think that's a really important thing to point out as well.
Well, DRX picked up the win. They kick off their day in excellent fashion, but they're about to dive back on the stage to battle against Esports. Now, we're going to head to a break, but as we go, it's time to meet a master hunter who hunts down monsters of every kind.
I will wait for you to be better.
You are done! Now it ends! For Nazuma! Clash with me! We're finished here. Those who wish me dead, keep wishing.
Bye.